Oh boy, and so we are back with reacting to the internal downfall of DarkSydePhil, part 2 of my reaction. So last time I left off on the part where they were starting off on the Panda Lee section. So again, this is me just getting my whole history lesson on DSP here in just this one video. I'm only like 54 minutes in, I'm just like, jeez, man. I knew this man was such a lolcow, but I didn't think he'd be this much of a lolcow. And the fact that he actually won tournaments boggles my mind. Still does. I'm just saying. Excuse me. Sorry, just had Jimmy John's earlier. But I still can't believe that. I've always thought he just went to tournaments and just sucked and didn't actually win them. But somehow he won them. I'm just surprised by that. Didn't think he actually won them. But now I'm actually learning about the entire history of DSP here from the past 54 minutes of this video so far. Now I'm going to get into a little more of it into this next part here of my part 2 of my reaction here. And like I said, I'm going to start off here on the Panda Lee section. So, oh boy. Here we go. Time for part 2.
Was consistently vacant. He was lacking a significant other. Quote, now for my favorite part of the story. My sweet waffle Philip. I met him in November 2011 online, YouTube actually, while he was and currently is making
much all filled up. What I'd like to do is get
Why did it do that? Come on, man. I hate it when YouTube does that.
sure that that's ever
vacant. He was lacking waffle Philip. I met him in November 2011 online, YouTube actually, while he was and currently is making video game playthroughs. We're still going strong despite some hurdles. The biggest one is other people. We are a May-December romance. He is 11 years older, but it makes our bonds even stronger. He is so supportive of my crafty ways, even if he doesn't understand half of it. We're even planning and taking steps to opening our own online bath beauty business. But moving in together comes first, because he lives in Connecticut. Told you we have hurdles, but that's all for now. I'm sure everyone will get to know me well soon enough. I can't wait to learn and share and confide in what seems like such great people. Smiley face. Unquote. That was from a future post created by Leanna, or Panda Lee as she was going as online. Leanna met Phil through the now...
She was from Seattle. Wow, so you came halfway across the country to meet this guy. Crazy. Someone flew halfway across the country to meet DSP and become their significant other. What the hell? What the hell, man?
Funk YouTube message system as a fan, only for Phil to escalate the relationship by providing her with his more private email. By February of 2012, they had become a couple, and Phil saw it fit to introduce her to his audience on Valentine's Day.
Hello everyone, DarkSydePhil here, and with me today is my beautiful girlfriend, Leanna, who also is known as Panda Lee on YouTube.
Yeah, she's not bad looking. I'll say that much. No. She's not bad looking.
Quote, special note, Panda Lee is not Asian. That is all, unquote. This was an annotation found on the video, a request likely by Panda Lee to avoid confusion of her race. It is likely her because she also made sure to clear this up in an interview held through a Twisted Metal lobby.
Some guy on the reveal video commented that I looked like an old Asian woman, so...
Yeah, they're all immature. Don't pay attention to DSP fans. They're fucking idiots. A lot of them are fucking idiots.
If
They are.
Really awkward.
Well, can you really call them fans, though? I mean, I'm just saying. Are they actually really fans at this point?
Asian-looking, non-Asian chick.
Yeah, I guess so. So what are your favorite games?
I just want to know how many Asians have green eyes. That's what I want to know. I've never met an Asian with green eyes.
Neither have I. So,
Yeah, I have green eyes. Very rare, so...
what games do
Figured
you
that
like?
would give away that I'm not Asian.
While Panda Lee was trying to convince Phil's audience that she is not Asian, Phil's audience was more curious about the 11-year age gap. With Phil being 29 years old and Panda Lee being 18, rumors spread that they began dating when she was underage, but these are unsubstantiated and no evidence of such has ever been brought forward. That
So
cannot be
there's
said
nothing
about
really
the
to back
rest
it
of the
up then.
criticisms surrounding Panda Lee, which there are many of.
Okay, so a word to
which?
to the wise, do not fucking get an apartment, like, ever. Just don't. I don't care what neighborhood you live in. It can be as white as anything. Don't fucking get an apartment, because you know why? You know why it's a white neighborhood? Because the white people live in the houses around it. The police is here. Yep, I called the police. You know why? Because 3 buildings away, I had all these windows and doors closed, but I could hear this Latin CD perfectly that if I knew Spanish enough, I could probably translate it for you.
Panda Lee would sometimes do playthroughs with DSP and John Rambo. Still, DSP's best friend had a large catalog of playthroughs with Phil and was a favorite of the channel. Panda Lee, being a newcomer and with her being argumentative with Rambo, meant she was...
Well, did it actually have booths at like conventions? I'll be damned if it did. If someone's watching this, can you please confirm that for me or not?
Making a bad impression.
I was just being difficult.
Okay, right off the bat, when you be saying shit like that, you're already a bitch to me. I'm sorry. You already give me bad vibes from just saying that shit. Especially how you're disrespecting John like that. Come on.
Alright, well anyway...
Panda Lee was a fair match for Phil because she had similar reasoning and an argumentative personality that Phil often portrayed in his videos.
Right.
As for his videos, DSP peaked in late 2011. Now, 2012, the trend was downward, and instead of getting a capture card to improve the quality of his videos, he sought experimentation elsewhere.
Project 7?
Project 7 was Phil and Friends' answer to the higher quality of videos found on YouTube. A summary of the plot is that Phil's gaming talent was stolen and that he has to travel through 7
gaming talent? Gaming talent? What gaming talent? Oh my god. To think this man actually has gaming talent. Everyone knows he's not talented. The only thing he's talented at is just making us watch him for the lulz. That's it.
To find and reclaim it. The stars were Phil, his best friend John Rambo, and their mutual friend Howard, which Phil claims was more so just John Rambo's friend. In charge of the editing, which was the heavy lifting, was more friends of John Rambo known by their channel Respect the Pact. They offered their assistance with the project for the sole purpose of a shoutout which they hope will launch their YouTube career.
Hello, I'm John, and I'm joined by Howard.
Woohoo!
So Project 7 was a lot of work for them. I don't think it was much work for us, despite what Phil would talk about how hard the day was.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard for us. It was hard for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was one day of filming. Maybe 7 hours.
Respect the Pact put in a tremendous amount of work to edit the project that only made it to episode 4 because one of the members had a child on the way and the shoutouts that they got from the project did virtually nothing for their own personal channel. There was also the fact that Project 7 was practically a failure. The entire 4 episodes, when adding up the views, did not even surpass 1 million. It was far more lucrative for DSP to continue pumping out low-quality, effortless gameplay videos that he had even gotten a raise for.
At this point... Oh, wait, hold up.
For mid-2012. Not only was he getting a set $2 per 1,000 views, sometimes he will get a bonus simply because of the size of his channel.
I mean, at this point, you could afford to get a capture card. Elgato's, like $100. Just slightly, like, between 100 to 150. I'm pretty sure you could afford to get one. God damn. And plus, it was easy software to handle. God damn, Phil. That boggles my mind.
The rest of the crew still desired to continue making these, and John Rambo put forth the idea that if DSP offered Respect the Pact money, then they would have no reason to stay.
Then you have a number, and then split it the 5 ways, and throw them the cash. Yep. And offer that to them. There's no guarantee that they're gonna continue with the series, but hey man, at least try.
Phil did not do so. He even lied to John Rambo and Howard and said that he did offer them money, only for them to ask Respect the Pact themselves.
His response: they don't want money. They don't want any money after this. Based on what he says, they told him that.
Yeah, and then I asked them about it, and they said he didn't even talk to them.
Phil was bold-faced lying to his 2 friends. This was already on top of other compounding, smaller problems, like Phil's jealousy of larger content creators and how he would lash out, creating unwanted attention towards his channel or just himself. Comments would also sometimes spark jealousy of his friends and would create a response from Phil.
Case in point, in this teaser trailer, there's a funny scene featuring John Rambo, and everyone says it's the best part of the trailer. And I even saw a comment saying, "Wow, this is Rambo's the funniest thing." Guess what? I wrote that scene.
These small, inconsequential things would add up slowly and drive a rift between DSP and John Rambo. Like when DSP lied about John Rambo not wanting to play Mario Party.
I start getting messages, and people are pissy. Oh, it's not mature enough for you, you big-nosed piece of shit.
Fuck. What's up?
Everything eventually circles back. Phil at first would pay John Rambo 50% of all the earnings in the Let's Plays he was involved in, but as it becomes more difficult to calculate the earnings with DSP's expansive catalog of videos, instead he would just toss him $100 every time he visited. But also, virtually every time he did visit, DSP would move things towards wanting to record more Let's Plays rather than hang out outside the realm of YouTube. This all relates to the 2012 condo. From these repeat visits, John and Howard noticed many changes that really just amounted to additions, like at least BMW.
We start showing up to your house, and what do we see? The guy starts buying figurines, starts buying all this ridiculous shit that there's no need to buy. Then we show up to his house one day, and what does he have in the fucking driveway? A BMW. So how the fuck do you think I feel, and how do you think these guys feel after the fact?
DSP,
Mind you, BMWs may be fun to drive, but they're heavy in maintenance and require a lot of maintaining. And they're very unreliable too. Just saying. Bad move, DSP. Bad decision. And I've known that from my friend who's had BMWs.
ever more frivolously. In contrast to his 2011 40-minute condo tour, this new condo tour took a total of 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 27 seconds. On the surfaces of his apartments, sans some of the walls and ceilings, it became a challenge to now find a square inch of clear space. There was even an update on the corner, now wall full of boxes and trash.
It's now quickly become a graveyard of shit that I can't either, I have nowhere to put, I have no use for, I can't store, I don't know what to do with it, alright?
DSP had run out of storage for his baubles and memorabilia.
I don't know, it's too much! Too much! And the problem is I have nowhere to put this shit. If I had somewhere to put it or sort it, I'd probably be able to see it, but it's all just a jumbled mess on top of my dresser. I need more room.
His closet, even with items optimally stored, was overfilled.
What I want to look at is just to show you what a mess the inside of my fucking closet is. I'm not going to go all the way because my luggage is actually spilling out, but look at all the boxes I've got from the models.
Phil did not value or understand money, except when it came to others. Phil, when talking about Project 7, classifies it as a financial loss for the t-shirts he helped finance and, more importantly, the props they bought. This prop that Howard is holding is a Lancer from the game Gears of War and cost $300. It had less than 30 seconds of screen time and was even less relevant to the plot, yet was the majority of shared expenses. He would use this and other items to try to convince viewers and friends that Project 7 was not profitable, disregarding his egregious spending habits.
Yeah, it's more about respect and being fair.
It's about respect, man. You have no respect for your friends, for your family. You don't give a shit about anybody but yourself.
There were plenty of examples of DSP's poor spending habits. Few trump his 3 custom-made quilts. These quilts, individually and also factoring inflation, cost Phil a minimum of $1,000. How much was Phil earning?
The good news is this.
That's the big question.
Okay? I'm an intelligent person. I'm a finance major. I went to school.
No, you're not. If that was the case, you wouldn't have to file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy a few years ago. So, you are not. I really hope... No, we'll get that... We'll probably get to this later in the video. How the man spent $40K on fucking WWE champions. Still boggles my mind to this day. And somehow he's still up and kicking. Oh, man.
I knew day one when I started making money off of YouTube that I was going to bank it. I was not going to go out there and invest in things that I couldn't get money out of. I'm still here in the condo. I didn't go out and buy a super overexpensive house, and I didn't go out and buy a sports car. Yes, I am driving a BMW, but it's actually a lot more economical than people really think.
It is not. It is not. If I'm being honest, it is not.
On DSP Gaming alone, for the year of 2012, he got 85.19 million views. Dividing that by 1,000 is 85,190. Multiplying that by $2, not $2.25, which it could sometimes be, but $2 as a base CPM for Machinima, excluding the possibility of bonuses, would mean that he made a gross of $170,380 for 2012. The problem now that he was presenting his audience starting 2013 is that Machinima was renegotiating many of their contracts. What this meant for Phil is he went from sometimes earning $2.25 per 1,000 views to a base $2.
In the year of 2012, my views really have dwindled. And what I mean is, I believe in the year of 2011, I probably got somewhere over like 10 to 11 million views on DSP Gaming, and then in 2012 I only barely reached like 8.5 million or something like that. I don't think the final number is in yet.
DSP lied and understates his views by nearly tenfold. Not only is this proven incorrect by archives such as Social Blade, this is proven incorrect directly on his own YouTube channel, where there are screenshots from the start of 2012 to the beginning of 2013 that shows he got nearly 90 million views. It was also here that Phil was toting his financial responsibility.
You don't see me here with super expensive clothes on or anything, and you don't see me wearing jewelry and shit. You know, I'm smart. I banked my money. So, regardless of what happens in this next year, I'm still okay. So I just want everyone to understand that.
Phil was ever confident that, even though he was now riding a downward trend, he could survive. His tune would change in the coming months as he would have to navigate troubles that were exclusive to him and the culture he was inadvertently creating.
Which would be...
What could be the two reasons? There are two underlying reasons why he would have made this video. Come on! That's why I didn't want to fucking restart the game.
Interesting.
Number one, he's just insanely jealous of me. It's not my fault. I love it. The other is that the guy is one of these gamers, like I mentioned, who play the games to feel accomplishment. What the fuck? What?
On February 15, 2013, YouTube user EvilAJ2010, in direct response to Phil claiming his videos are well received, uploaded a compilation of Phil's Metal Gear Solid 2 playthroughs with only the clips of his failures or Phil's obscene commentary. Even with that considered, the supercut was nearly an hour long. In addition to this, it included AJ's own text commentary and images of many comments found.
Let me go back to
in addition to this, it included a...
Maybe if your dumbass played the first MGS, you would have known about it. But of course you hated that game. Yeah, no, that sounds like Phil, alright.
AJ's own text commentary and images of many comments found under Phil's original Let's Play. Where many channels failed to capture the negative yet entertaining aspects of Phil, AJ was succeeding. A month later, in March, his video was up to 77,000 views, and word was spreading.
DSP is a weird guy. It's like a train wreck that you can't look away from, that's on every day 10 times a day.
24 hours.
Oh, come on, guys. Come on.
The reason EvilAJ's video was so successful was both external to Metal Gear Solid and internal. The external elements that bring interest are that DSP has continuously bled viewers through his lack of editing, refusal to use a capture card, and poor gameplay. The elements that are internal, and why Metal Gear Solid was the perfect game to capture the essence of Phil, is foremost that Kojima, the person that heads the creation of the series, is well respected within the gaming community, as are his creations. The Metal Gear Solid series chiefly requires critical thinking, as it is required to appropriately employ every item in your arsenal, as well as to react quickly in tense situations. It also requires patience to be able to learn enemy patrol patterns or learn from one's mistakes. Phil lacks severely in both of these fields and approached Metal Gear Solid 2 as an action game, brute forcing his way through situations that require nuanced approaches, all while criticizing Kojima.
Kojima wants to make movies. Kojima does not want to make video games. He will really, you could tell, he wanted to make a bunch of long movies or miniseries of this stuff.
EvilAJ, in April and July, will go on to release This Is How You Don't Play Metal Gear Solid 3 and Metal Gear Solid 1 respectively. This manifestation of dislike of Phil could not have come at a worse time for him. Not only were his views plummeting, unrelated to AJ, he was also desperate to staunch the loss of viewership to the point he finally caved in and began using a capture card.
Took you so damn long. God damn. Took you long enough to finally get one after so many years when you could have had one. Oh man, that blows my mind. He had the money to get one, he just didn't do it. It would have made better for your quality content, DSP. Again, this is why you're not that smart.
He also began live streaming, though he was still not editing his
Making my nose
playthroughs and
congestion from
pushing out more
stupidity.
videos than the average person cared to watch. Phil was still steeply behind on the curve, losing viewership to rising Let's Players.
Like
This,
PewDiePie.
how many more people are doing Let's Plays? Like, it's ridiculous the amount of people who have gotten into it, to the point where a website like YouTube, unfortunately, doesn't really feature anyone but the top 2 or 3 guys who are doing it. I mean, let's face it. Why do you always see the same
That part he's not wrong about. I'll agree with him on that part.
people in related videos, featured videos? For the person who's not at the tippy top, it's so hard for people to get noticed now on YouTube.
Oh, were you expecting something else?
The irony is that Phil's accumulated viewership was influencing the algorithm to keep advertising his content. The loss of viewership was because people were familiar with what he produced and stayed away from it despite YouTube pushing it.
There's the kind of person who would say, oh no, I
that's
want
also
the views,
true.
stop my feet, oh man, man, man.
Yep.
But I would say, no, I'm going to stay positive, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Phil was losing viewership and supporters. Chris, or Mighty Furtado, the 18-year-old that co-made DSP's website and was responsible for building his computer, actually had a falling out with DSP.
Damn.
Starting with Chris calling DSP lazy for initially not wanting to adapt to direct capture, which
Yeah,
DSP
no.
demanded an apology for.
I mean, he was right.
At that point, Chris had had enough and stopped supporting DSP, leaving
Can't
DSP
blame
to
him
purchase
there.
the domain back.
Whenever I tried to help, he kind of just shot on me for it. So at that point, I was like, why am I going to support somebody who I've been trying to help for so many years? You know, I co-created him a website, co-created his forums, co-built his gaming PC. I've helped him so much. And when I try to help him try to adapt to direct capture, he's not kind of really taking the suggestions from myself as well as everybody else in the chat during that time.
It doesn't end there. With Chris now persona non grata, DSP made extreme claims without evidence about the price of the PC Chris had built. Chris, not pleased with this, made a video in response.
He had made a video basically stating that he had sent us apparently $3,000, and that wasn't the case.
The actual amount a DSP paid for the PC, as shown through Chris's receipt, and a few $100s extra that was sent, was off by a maliciously large margin.
So I had actually made my own
2,800.
video defending myself, and I had shown the PayPal receipts of DSP sending the $1,600.
DSP to this day cannot provide evidence or reason why he claimed the PC cost $1,400 more than it actually did. To make matters even worse, it turns out Chris paid for the shipping out of pocket.
We actually paid an additional $150 from out of pocket from my side.
That's
just
how
to
much it
ship the
costed to
computer.
get it shipped.
That may have been the
Damn.
last of his direct interactions with Phil, but not with others that opposed him. A portion of Chris's second video is in defense of Evil AJ, even showing that he was in communication with him. And then there were videos coming out supporting Chris.
Very recently, there's been a lot of videos that have been coming out on YouTube about DarkSydePhil, exposing him or whatever. The one that really got me was the one that was made by Chris, of Chris and Teo, who designed DarkSydePhil's website for free and built him a computer.
There was a rising community of support, one that was built on the common dislike of Phil. The threads were being intertwined in such
Not
a way
surprising.
that new channels making This Is How You Don't Plays would sometimes pay homage to Evil AJ.
Yes, because he's the one that started it all.
Like, there are people doing walkthroughs of this game, and they just easily jump up here, and I can't do it at all. Look, I can't fucking jump up here. How are people able to jump up here? Look, I can't jump up here.
Oh my god.
Jump! You won't even jump. Look, jump! You fucking idiot.
How?
Okay. Whew.
Viewers were quickly realizing that DSP, with his near 4 years on YouTube, had a treasure trove of videos to sift through and inspire compilations or different forms of content. Whether it was Pandalee's abrasive personality and dislike of the Kingdom Hearts series,
I'm here trying to play a fucking game. It's hard to concentrate when a bunch of little immature shits get into a fucking argument with my girlfriend. Fuck you.
a DSP soundboard,
Cock-a-dookie bullshit, mobile fuck nonsense.
or just DSP's
They actually made a sound pad based off his... Oh my god. That's funny. I didn't even know about that part.
giveaways that would sometimes just be empty video game cases.
So to warn everyone, just to show you for full disclosure, no game.
There was so much material dated.
Then what's the point of the giveaways? You know, like, really, no, seriously, what's the point of the giveaways then?
By his pre-capture card era. Some of these videos were titled DSP Tries It as to try to dominate his own Tries It series on the search results. An additional purpose of these was to create videos that were shorter snippets of DSP rather than a long-form "this is how you don't" plays. Some just criticized DSP's habits outside of games, like DSP Tries It, compulsive hoarding, and being a man-child. A video that covers Phil's newly released 2013 condo tour that shows just how much worse his living space has gotten.
This is what has happened to my condo in the past year. I've gotten so much stuff that my condo just can't look at this. Look at this.
Get a storage unit. It doesn't cost that much to get one now, does it? Especially back then. Oh my god.
Look at this! Look at the floor! Look at this! It's a fucking hideous mess. And I really wish that I had somewhere to put this shit, but I don't.
Tied to this was the curiosity about DSP's expenditures. In 2013 alone, he took at least 4 trips. Every one of them, he paid for at least one additional person, whether it was John Rambo or Pen Lee, sometimes both. The reason this was becoming irrelevant was because of DSP's focus on his decline of views and earnings. His critics could be just as excessive with their own commentary.
Have you been on DarkSydePhil's stream when he fucking flips out over people using adblock? About how you're it's like going into his house and robbing him and taking all his shit.
They should find out where he lives and rob him. Like, actually go to his house.
Man, you're taking my money. That's just like if you use adblock on one of my videos.
But you know what would be great? You could really teach him a lesson if we went into his house and lynched him.
4chan was also in on this, creating green text that accompanied other
Oh,
memes.
not 4chan.
As to only help get attention, DSP set out on
Nothing good ever comes out of 4chan.
attacking other creators whose channels towered over his own.
Holy shit! Another YouTuber who's not a giant fucking Tobuscus PewDiePie idiot who loves gaming, is doing it for the love of gaming, and he's actually showing up in my fucking related channels.
PewDiePie's channel had over 100 times the subscribers that Phil had, and there was no doubt that they shared viewers. So these comments assured that those viewers...
Mind you, PewDiePie is a lot more likable than DSP. And back then, he was on the rise, becoming YouTube's golden boy. Until YouTube kind of gave him a finger, and, you know, the culture's changed a lot since then.
Would not return to Phil. What's more is that Phil would talk about how big of a fan PewDiePie was of him.
Yeah, that's right. PewDiePie has said he was inspired by me to make videos. He used to watch my content back when he had no money to buy games. He would watch me play the games. That's how he got the idea to make his content.
Is that evidence? Can you back up those claims? Probably not.
PewDiePie did in fact like some of DSP's videos back in 2011.
Okay,
though as
did.
Phil's barrage
Okay, he likes
continued,
Phil's, okay.
PewDiePie would have a change in opinion. As for now, the other leading channel that he was personally at odds with was Tobuscus, who launched his own gaming
course.
channel. On top of that, he promoted NCAA Football 2013, and his video on it was used as an advertisement for the game on YouTube. Phil, displeased with what he perceived as YouTube advertising his competitors, was quick to make a rant on it.
And here's why I'm upset. I'm not upset that he's advertising the game. That's fine. It's even a gaming-related ad. I understand why it's on my video. But at the end of the fucking ads, there's a link to his channel.
Phil was thoroughly lambasting entertainers and games that his audience enjoyed. Games that were rising in popularity like Minecraft for its lack of story. This made the rounds so much that even the creator of Minecraft commented on it. Because of DSP's rapid decline, there was inversely a lucrative market to make content criticizing DSP. A group of creators would soon fly a banner that would be seen across various channels.
Are
The
these the sons of
Kojima
Kojima?
World Order, or the KWO, was the unifying group for
Of
what was
course,
being called
it was
troll
them.
or detractor channels. The origin of the name came from Phil himself and his criticisms of Kojima.
I'm joining
So that's where it came from. All right, now because I know the sons of Kojima were a big part of DSP lore. So
As of right now, everything that Kojima has made is godlike, without question. Burn up, bam, bam, burn up, bam, bam.
Kojima World Order. Kojima World Order.
2013 ended far differently than it began, with DSP's views still on decline and a decline in how DSP was viewed. It made for Phil's worst year yet. And in 2014, the detractor videos and memes evolved rapidly. Phil could only add fuel to their fire.
Okay, what is up, everybody? DarkSydePhil here, and welcome to Release Day Unboxing for Tuesday, February 11th, 2014.
Is your fire alarm going
everyone
off?
says, what on earth is going on? You probably hear an incredibly annoying, high-pitched, droning sound going on. That is the fire alarm in my condo facility.
Of course.
And the problem is, the fire alarm in this condo facility has a nasty habit of, during the middle of the winter, especially when it's very cold, of going off as a malfunction.
That was from DSP's Release Day Unboxing video. The first 3 minutes, Phil is talking about the ongoing fire alarm. Then he shifts to criticizing prior games. Then to the fire alarm, and then DSP picks up the camera, takes it to the door, and shows he stuffed paper towels in the slits to muffle some of the ongoing alarm. In the entire 14 minutes, DSP failed to open and quote-unquote unbox the game. This screenshot, which included DSP's comment realizing his mistake tied to the title of the video, is what DSP was now known for. Though few videos of his own rarely capture this entertainment from failure in such a way.
What's up, boss? Is it time?
As predictable as Phil was in the gaming space with his commentary, his decisions, especially the financial ones, were seldom predictable. Phil, mid-2014, finally committed to move. Some discernible reasons for our move were mainly tied to having a larger living space allowing for more storage, and would give Phil and Panda Lee their own space as they were seeking to move in together. Common strategies would suggest Phil would either sell or rent his condo and then move in somewhere close by. This would allow easy access to the condo for maintenance. The social elements are as important, like his friends and family that were all living in Bridgeport. With this in mind, what does Phil do?
I got the confirmation over the weekend that we are good to go. We are closing this week. By the end of this week, I will be the owner of a beautiful new townhouse / condo in Washington State. It's probably going to cost me about $7,500. I shit you not, it's that expensive to move across the country.
Phil had decided to move from...
Yeah, I know living in the West is a lot more expensive. So, that's a really big step of wanting to move across the country, Phil. Holy shit.
Connecticut to quite literally across the country to Washington to purchase a condo for $265,000.
God damn.
What's more, for 2013, with Phil's viewership on his main channel, he had made just shy of $100,000 gross, a steep decline from the $170,000 gross in 2012. This indicates continued loss of revenue and pressure to pull back on spending. And even though Phil should have money saved up, he was still petitioning his audience for donations.
Right now, I'll be honest with everyone, the past month to 2 months, April and now May, up to now have been pretty slow. But, you know, I needed a little bit of help in these times when things are slow, okay?
The situation he was revealing was far more dire than initially thought. Phil was technically still in debt as he paid the minimum on his mortgage for his Connecticut condo, and as later revealed, Phil, as he claims, emptied his bank account to finance a move, meaning somehow the hundreds of thousands of dollars he should have saved were supposedly gone. In addition to this, he began using credit cards to continue his lavish lifestyle that was far beyond unsupportable. Quote, I'm a successful YouTuber and lots of people dislike me because I am successful and outspoken. I should have signed up here with a different name, but I didn't think that far ahead. I may do so now. Unquote. This was Phil in a forum for the mobile game WWE Supercard, which is essentially a collectible card game of sorts with an emphasis on microtransactions themed around the well-known American wrestling organization. Quote, I just got my second in the Hulk Hogan challenge and spent around $200. For $1,200, I think, you can buy a pack of 1,500 title matches, which is enough to win the event doing straight +5s. Unquote. The jargon around the game was hardly interesting to any detractor. What was Phil's knowledge of the cost of items and his spendings of potentially thousands of real-life dollars in a time he supposedly did not have any money to spend. Yet, he was financing Panda Lee's new soap-making business. Phil also renewed the lease on a BMW that he would drive at most 2,000 miles a year. Evidence of Phil's poor spending had been mounting for some time, but never has it been this overwhelming.
Once my equipment shows up, my new PC, I'm hoping to get to work with higher quality videos for you guys. So next week will be an interesting week to test it, right?
1, 2, 3, or 4 if you include the capture card Phil is using. That's how many capture cards Phil has. He purchased 3 new ones to test them out. The comments discuss the absurdity of Phil's purchases. Quote, lol, so he ordered 1 capture card, changed his mind, and bought another. Then changed his mind again and bought another, all before the first could even be delivered? You got more money.
Oh, man. Why? Yeah, how's he again, this is why he eventually ended up needing to do going for chapter 7. Oh, man. I would have just stuck with just 1. Hell, I have. Like the one I'm using currently. Hell, I'll show you mine right now for my playthroughs. I'm using... That's a bit dusty, sorry. I'm using my Elgato right here, the HD 1060X, I believe? Yeah, that's if the model is called. Yeah, there's a more recent, the newer model, the Elgato. I had to get upgraded after I had my previous one, the HD 60, like since 2017. So I've had that one for like... Prior to that one, I've had it for like 5 to 6 years, so I was like, yeah, it's time for an upgrade. I'm glad I got this one. It was only a hassle because, you know, I can't use the same software anymore, and plus, you know, I have to go for OBS. OBS isn't quite as bad. I just missed, you know, the old game capture software where I could play for the game and have my commentary sync along with it. But while it does that, I can lower the gameplay would like lower in volume when when I do my commentary. Yeah, that's the only downside to what I miss from like the old Elgato software and using it. Too bad this one can't use it, which I never understand why. Elgato's newer capture software is kind of shitty, but you have to work around it so it's still using OBS. So just to point that out, yeah. More of the story when it comes to DSP, stick to 1, and then just get some upgrades after a few years. Simple. That's what I did. And again, if you want to see some better gameplay content in DSP for his playthroughs, go to my Let's Play channel, please. Again, and if you do, you are awesome.
Then cents, or your credit card debt is rising. Wouldn't it be worth doing some research before buying them? Dude, you could just figure this stuff out with
another point. That's what I did too.
The Google search. Lol. Unquote. What the comments miss is that Phil also bought a new, pre-built PC from CyberPower within the week of the capture card video, and did the unboxing live, taking his chance to mock the PC might have Furtada built for him by stating,
"This is how you do ship a PC." We already got a broken piece of plastic. Already a broken piece of plastic. That might be why the top is moving. It's the post that goes through that holds this in place broke off in shipping.
The price of the PC was $3,000. Here it is in action.
Again?
What the hell?
Oh, and it kept lagging up on him,
The game's choppy as fuck on my new PC. Great.
So he didn't know that there was an option to switch from encoding with your CPU and encoding with your GPU. Like he...
Yeah, no. Not surprising.
Just
not surprising
didn't
at all.
know how to use his PC.
I freaking maxed it out. It went to 100%, so I cannot play a PC game on 1080p 60 frames per second and capture and stream at the same time. It doesn't work.
The irony of all this is that Phil later cited Seattle's tech sector as one of the reasons for the move, despite not having any formal education or even general competence in the field. As for the exorbitant spending on equipment, DSP could cite that he was trying to improve the quality of his streams and also deduct the purchases for taxes, but he was ignoring the fact that gaming content was being improved by editing the unnecessary parts out. Phil was still refusing to do this. His cited reason, he was a gamer. Quote, I'm a gamer, not a video editor, entertainer, actor. I like to play games.
I mean, but you are, though. That's what you're doing on YouTube.
Games, not edit videos of them. Unquote. His choice of trying to improve the visual quality and not the experience of his streams was turning around to bite him at every angle. In November of 2014, a Twitch mod jumped into Phil's streams requesting he lower his bitrate. This is basically asking him to lower the quality. While Phil complied, he was unhappy with the outcome, especially with all the money he invested in improving the visual quality. In an act of defiance, Phil deleted his Twitch account, opting to stream on YouTube where he would not be burdened with Twitch's limitations. This move, that was meant to increase viewership via higher quality streams, actually had Phil lose viewership, as few Twitch native users were loyal enough to migrate. Phil was now going from blunder to blunder, miscalculating, misunderstanding, failing only in ways he could. For example, he allegedly launched a fan art campaign. The participants on Twitter gleefully joined in and shared their art. Only they weren't fans. This contrast, this continued failure was too much to even be documented. There was a nuance to DSP's thought process that was demanding exploration and criticism, especially when, in December of 2014, Phil was playing with the idea of starting a Patreon. But also in December, he was making more vlogs showing his continued poor spending habits that were discourteous even to his parents that Phil set up in a hotel instead of having them stay in the condo.
My parents are visiting for the Christmas week holiday, and they actually took the car. That's right. I let them take the BMW. So yeah, that's a lot of trust, but I trust my parents. They actually are staying at a hotel that's less than 10 minutes away. We got them up. We set them up at room and board. It's a nice hotel that has a big suite. It's got its own...
Actively watching DSP, who was streaming around 6 times a week for several hours at a time, was no small feat. What started as laughing at Phil's terrible gameplay had turned into a higher investment into his continuing dramas. This Tumblr tries to capture the drama in 2014. From this magazine that states Phil whines about losing a lot, to Phil's spending and conflict with creators like PewDiePie, who was now in on making fun of Phil. Phil's e-begging, conflict with creators like PewDiePie.
Oh man, I had no idea even PewDiePie paid attention to DSP like that back then. Crazy.
Who was now in on making fun of Phil. Phil's e-begging, conflicts, forum drama, a list of over 2,000 words. The most shocking fact was that it was still missing a fair amount of Phil's exploits. To capture it all and understand it all for entertainment was a process that loses its entertainment value. The majority of people are only interested in the wildest clips of Phil. Then you have those that watch hour-long This Is How You Don't plays, then those that interact with Phil to try to get a rise from him and seek discussion of him. And then you have an entirely different people, one that tops the spectrum of investment and are not motivated by entertainment, but malice.
The following announcement has been paid for by the
SOK.
Hello everyone and welcome to the SOK cast. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves, I'd be more than
What's
happy
going
to.
on everybody? Fred Fucks again.
And Superior Artist, or Superior Snorez.
This is Renegade Operative here.
Evil AJ 2010 here.
And
okay.
Wow.
And Carson, right?
Yeah, Miles.
And we are going to be joined by Lupo572 shortly.
That was the Sons of Kojima podcast. This channel rallied the prominent detractors of DSP. Fred Fox was at the helm, a name chosen through an angry video game nerd video.
Fred Fox?
There are many things that make this channel exceptionally unique. Primarily is that this is a dedicated channel that trumps all others in terms of effort. The members that ebb and flow always had Fred Fox pathing the way, creating multi-hour-long podcasts, and though they put in much effort, they were getting arguably the least amount of traction for their investment. Rarely do detractors get less views than Phil himself, but when it came to the SOK, rarely did any other videos ever outperform Phil. The reason was that they were at the highest tier of investment in terms of Phil. They reached an extremely niche audience in an already superbly niche environment. Where the majority of videos were made to laugh at Phil's failures, the Sons of Kojima was trying to interact with Phil and in many ways make his life worse. On the surface, they will promote what they believed was their moral superiority by leading a charity drive that funded the construction of a well in Africa. But they, mostly through Fred Fuck's will, attempted to dictate detractor communities beyond their own. They made the rule that detractors cannot monetize their channels and or make profit through Phil as to remain morally superior. Yeah.
Oh, that's stupid though. That's stupid. You don't need to do that. Hey, why not make some monetization off of detracting DSP? I know most people would do it. Hell, if Nathaniel Peels and Gabe could do it, they would do it too. Hell, I'd do it. They get some monetization, make some money off DSP. Why not? Man would probably do the same anyway.
They, in the background, would work with others to strike Phil.
As long as it's just funny, as long as it's not against terms of service. I might need to check if it's not. As long as we're not targeting or harassing, then we should be good. If I remember correctly, yeah. That should be good on that part. Just no targeting and harassing, we just basically criticizing the guy a lot. and just basically talking shit about him, but I believe that doesn't fall. That falls under terms of service at least, but yeah. Because, yeah, no one is free from criticism.
With illegitimate copyright strikes. Fan art played a central role in this campaign. In 2015, the Sons of Kojima ran free, and it's difficult to say how many trolling campaigns they were launching during this time. A time where Phil's views, for now the third year straight in 2015, were on a steep decline. The trolling community was active like never before, and Phil continued to suffer from the ramifications of his terrible financial decisions. Possibly to offset his continued losses, Phil was committed to launching this Patreon. But there was an issue. There was already a DarkSydePhil Patreon. This had many subscription tiers. On the lowest side was a...
Oh, fucking course. Oh, fucking course. Some already would make a Patreon right before DSP can make his own Patreon. Brilliant. Brilliant.
$, or this is how you don't donate tier. On the highest end was the 7 million tier, or the theft tier. In between these were 15 more tiers, littered with inside jokes making fun of Phil. This parody Patreon, as it reserved the name DarkSydePhil, was sequestered, and in January, Phil launched his Patreon to mediocre success. In February, the number of patrons greatly rose to 74, paying out a total of $1,166. What influenced this surge was Phil redesigning his Patreon to center around milestones that once hit would guarantee the release of a video or a stream around a game, like Minecraft, that Phil had a change of heart with. Fans now understood that this was not so much a donation, but a guarantee, held by Patreon's milestone goals and Phil's own words.
But it's not just a way of saying, here, take my money, and thank you. It's a way of investing. You spoke in droves and said, we don't just want pure raw gameplay anymore. We want montages. We want better edited content in addition to the raw gameplay, and we like special events. You get what you want.
This had the added benefit of regaining some favor with his audience. He even began releasing edited montages around months or just his own game series. These, by their nature, were meant to compete against This Is How You Don't plays, or at least capture some of the market. As they failed to compete with them or even just surpassed his raw gameplay videos, he reserved them to a Patreon tier. Also during this time, some videos criticizing DSP were being taken down. While DSP blames these takedowns on machinima acting in their own interest, viewers took it as DSP wanting to suppress the negative attention. As these takedowns happened in March, the channels willing to fight the claims were reinstated in April. But when they were reinstated, they were immediately claimed, meaning that they could remain up, but all the money would go to machinima. This same month, DSP released a video of him performing various actions in front of a green...
Oh, I remember, I've seen this before. Yeah, I remember Crow would play it when he would play his DSP rap song. This is what I would see a lot of. So that's where this came from, okay.
It only took one day for a scathing video that utilized the green screen footage to be released. This included reference to Phil's decline in views, his alcoholism, and the copyright strikes applied to detractor channels. Additionally, Phil's diet of fast foods was coming back at him in full force. After all, current day, there is at least 17.5 hours of footage of Phil consuming fast foods or foods of similar quality.
Jeez.
My foot is incredibly...
No wonder he still looks a bit fat. Come on, man. I would at least expect you to know better and try to make sure you eat healthy and stay decent. Maybe that's why you haven't aged well from your early days in the 90s.
Swollen. You cannot tell from what I wanted to show you there. It's about, I'd say about 1.5 times the chubbiness of my other foot. So after doing a bunch of research online and after what everyone's been telling me, it sounds to me like I might have gout.
Gout, or historically known as the disease of kings, is caused from a diet abundant of alcohol and red meats. This news spread quickly.
He has gout? How does he have gout?
Gout, copyright strikes, continued loss of viewerships.
I've had a gout before too, but mind you, on my big toe, yeah. But I've had that from getting messed up when I was kicking things like about a year ago. It took me a few weeks for it to heal off though, because I was using some gout medicine and got some other treatment for it. But thankfully I don't have it anymore. But sometimes I can still feel like where it came from to this day. Had it not been for my stupidity of using my foot to kick things and end up jamming it.
And the rise of the Sons of Kojima were only the start of Phil's difficulties for 2015. His financial situation had gotten to the point that he was selling his statues that he could not accurately declare the quality of.
Back of the box, as you can see, very durable. When it moved, it even got a little nick in it, but it did absolutely no damage to anything inside because it has lots of styrofoam inside. His cone has damage. Gotta call that out.
As poor as Phil was with communication, there was one instance that him reaching out very well saved his life.
They all have these super...
Audio police chatter.
Uh-oh.
What?
Hold on. Hold on, everyone.
Did he get swatted?
I think I might have some cops outside. Hold on.
In the afternoon of June 24, 2015,
What the hell?
someone called Phil's local police department claiming they had shot their parents and had a hostage. This was a swatting, and the police had to respond.
It was. Jesus Christ, man. That's fucked. That's fucked. No one deserves to be swatted, period. It's such a fucking scumbag move to do. Not even DSP deserves to get swatted. And I get with other people on this for heavily. Swatting deserves to be a federal crime, because at that point, you're attempting to get someone killed. Period. Because there have been instant stories of when people have gotten shot or have died from those. So...
Luckily, Phil had called ahead in fears that something like this would happen. Due to that, and because the caller did not identify themselves, they went in with the...
That's smart, though. Thankfully, he was smart enough to do that, knowing this might have happened to him one day.
expectation that they were possibly not in danger. If not for these circumstances, this visit could have ended far worse.
Oh yeah.
Shame on you. If you've ever made a "this is how you don't play" about me, if you ever decided to follow me, make a clone account on Twitter, do this childish shit on YouTube, if you thought it was funny to dox me, if you thought it was the DDoS attacks were funny, you almost got me killed. You. Yes, you.
This shifting of blame and unjustly targeting the detractor community as a whole for the deranged acts of one person further soured relations with the detractors, yet gained a bit of sympathy for those that were not in this vortex. Phil was frustrated not just at the detractors, but also the fact that the media was not picking up on the story, meaning that this message that the detractors as a whole were at fault was contained to his own platform. Little did Phil know there was more negative attention on him than ever before. His streams, tweets, forums, Patreon were all being monitored and archived. The following month, Phil on his own forums equated using the chat function on his live streams but not donating as loitering. But it's okay because he's lenient. As much as he claims to be, his audience from both sides were not convinced. Especially with the troubles on his Patreon. A new milestone goal at $1,250 was Project 7 Rebirth. Quote, if this goal is reached, I will take away at least 2 days, if not 1 to 2 full days in August to write, record, and work on the renewal of Project 7, with the hope that I'll at least have something to show for it by the end of the month. Unquote. In no way, other than to drive Patreon donations, does this goal make sense. The original Project 7 was a failure by all aspects, and now Phil was here offering to relaunch the series with just 2 days of work. Likely due to this, viewers were asking John Rambo if he was playing a part in it. Coincidentally, John Rambo on his own channel released a skit perhaps related to the news.
Hi, my name is John, and I'm special because I upload videos to the internet. But being so important does have its dark side. In fact, it means that my life is much more difficult than everyone else's. This is why I've opened a Pay Me Tons account. It's an internet website that allows people like me to receive lots of creativity from people like you. Simply log in and transfer the entirety of your bank account into my Pay Me Tons account. I won't even get out of bed for less than $50.
With Phil's relation with John Rambo in disarray and no feasible way to relaunch Project 7, in August he announced the project would not be coming to fruition and would be replaced by another goal. Similarly, his Alan Wake montage that the patrons voted for would also be cancelled after a single episode.
Oh, good. The power went out. I'm not even kidding you.
Almost as if it was retaliatory, fan art that Phil used in his videos was being used to illegitimately strike his channels. To avoid further strikes, he deleted the videos that include the art, which amounted to 600 videos off his channel. This amounted to around 4 million views removed, and on Social Blade it showed that for the month of August he netted a total of negative 1.37 million views. That's why in November, he insisted that through a strange, unverifiable string of events, that this deletion of views was causing a drop-off in his channel. In this near 44-minute, long-winded video, Phil recounts to his audience that it was Machinima that instructed him to delete those 600 videos that caused a small dent in his total viewership, but does not provide evidence of Machinima doing so because he claims he was instructed via a conference call. Then he claims an
No way
anonymous
to back that
insider
up,
told
though.
Phil that this subtraction of views brought him down in the invisible total rankings, and that YouTube was still using that archaic system of promoting videos via their channel's total accumulated views. The only thing is that all existing evidence works against him. The strongest evidence is in his social blade. Contrary to what he is stating, he has had far worse drop-offs in views. And actually, late 2015 were the most stable than they'd ever been. For November of 2011, he was losing over 1 million viewers on a daily basis. Yet now, in late 2015, he was worried about a small fluctuation of around 200,000 viewers. What's more, the deleted views against Phil's total views would have been so insignificant, it would have no effect on his channel. Then again, there is a benefit in framing this natural downward trend as an emergency.
But when this shit happens with YouTube and I have no control over it, I need your help. And if you really want to help, Patreon's the way. $1 a month.
This hardly helped his Patreon that was already being scrutinized due to his unfulfilling of initial goals. And more than just his patrons were distrusting of Phil. On Thanksgiving 2015, Phil uploaded an Ask the King episode where he answered fan questions. Fans seeking an update on John Rambo asked Phil where he stood with him.
I hope that people don't take this the wrong way. But in life, if you have something that you want to say, or you have an issue with someone, all right, say it. Bring it up. Hash it out. If something happens and you don't bring it up and you let resentment build up, that's when relationships get ruined, right?
Fans unsated with Phil's answer, like with the relaunch of Project 7, were reaching out to John Rambo on Thanksgiving to ask how he felt about Phil. 2 days later, on November 28th, they, including Phil, were given their answer.
Hello. I'm John, and I'm joined by Howard.
This was the same podcast that was used earlier in this video that talked about the production of Project 7. John Rambo decided to upload this to a separate channel and then deleted it about a day after. Then it was re-uploaded in perpetuity by channels archiving the material. And so in permanence was this about hour and a half podcast of evidence where John Rambo details his falling out with Phil. From Phil unfollowing him on Twitter, to Phil drunkenly messaging him late at night while watching their Let's Plays and not calling him even though John Rambo said he preferred that over text. It was all this, plus other minute issues like merchandise both parties invested in, Phil's susceptibility to trolling, his self-destructive tendencies, and other private elements that caused this falling out. At the end, John Rambo offers an olive branch by stating that a phone call could fix this. But Phil never did call. And so Phil lost touch with the last friend he had. Not even a month later, now closing 2015, Machinima informed Phil that they will no longer honor the $2 CPM contract and would instead swap to paying him with the raw ads, which would further decrease his earning potential. Everything appeared to be working against him, and the idea that was meant to breathe life into his channel did not come.
Yeah, man, 2015 must have been the worst year for DSP, huh? Oh my god. Is that what I think it was?
What is up, everyone?
The stream will be starting shortly. Please stand by. Yep, this is the one where he got caught jacking himself off on stream. Oh, Jesus.
Hello and welcome. Oh, the camera's on. The camera's been on the whole time, huh?
Phil attempted to dismiss what he was doing by saying he was doing quote-unquote various stuff like scratching his leg. The bombardment of memes and other media would not allow Phil to dismiss this so easily.
No.
It was already clear that he was pleasuring himself on stream and forgot to turn the camera off. Keemstar, the owner of Drama Alert, a trending drama channel at the time, quickly picked up the story. It was then that Phil came clean and admitted to what he was doing. After Drama Alert and the internet as a whole spread the news, DarkSydePhil would be known, above all else, for
oh god, that's what got him on
this. A new nickname was passed around as DSP would be known as The Guy.
You didn't even know the camera was on.
Every inch of like
Because in theoretical conversation, when one introduces the subject of DarkSydePhil, the other participant would respond with, "Is that the guy that pleasured himself on stream?" Phil handled this remarkably well, making jokes about it and accepting his new identity in stride.
You're absolutely right.
Hey, he got clapped from it somehow, so why not?
That's what I'm known for.
You got exposed for doing that.
I got completely exposed.
His partners and Machinima were not so enthused, and sought to take down any re-upload they could find of the event. Whatever goodwill Phil had gained through the acceptance of this recent event was quickly lost. In this single post on his forums, he insults 3 different creators who have audiences larger than his. He calls Total Biscuit's reviews overanalyzing, calls Jim Sterling's reviews that fool you into thinking they're intelligent with fancy wording, and Angry Joe's reviews bloated with skits and cosplay for kiddies to retain attention. The cherry on top was the purpose of this post was to represent his own views as superior. Quote, or if you actually want an honest review from an honest guy who's played video games all his life, has a huge wealth of experience/knowledge to draw upon, and doesn't have any bias towards anything, you can watch my review, unquote. Persisting on this path of self-destruction, the following month Phil made an Instagram post calling PewDiePie's new book meaningless for brain-dead idiots. This produced a response from PewDiePie, who simply responded with, quote, DSP upset he can't read, unquote. The source of Phil's frustration was his continued bleeding of views. He was jealous, and over several posts on his forums, relentlessly defended the idea that not editing his Let's Plays is what made him popular, while simultaneously furious at being disadvantaged, stating that the only barrier between him and hiring an editor is money. There was something different in Phil going on.
Yeah, you spend a lot on a lot of shit you didn't need.
On here. A panic, a lashing out, a misrepresentation of the truth. Not to trick his viewership, but to try to fool himself. He was not concocting long-standing lies that would reach various people or form some campaign of misinformation or unverifiable fact. He was arguing with individual members on his forums with multi-paragraph long responses. As the users had grown accustomed to, Phil was blaming "this is how you don't plays" for his failings, calling them slanderous. A user of his chat was even banned for stating that they enjoyed their job and wouldn't prefer streaming. Phil was fighting with the very concept that the loss of viewership was his fault. It's a wonder what this fight with reality was doing to him. Out of his continued desperation, he was back on Twitch asking for more paid subscribers. Phil's loss of viewership had him left with the most dedicated supporters and detractors watching his streams. The worst part for Phil was this balancing act between dismissing detractors and appeasing supporters. Quote, I seriously need to start convincing people that YouTube isn't going to support me anymore, so they need to pledge a Patreon and or sub, give bits here. Because at this rate, it's a joke. I'm on pace to make half as much in December this year as I did last year, playing 4 new games. Just got a notification my bank account is overdrawn. Locally, my machinima payment is literally coming through today, unquote. To add salt to the wound, the infamous clip of Phil was strong in circulation even at the end of 2016.
Oh, yes.
2017 started just as bad for Phil, as he announced that he had been renting his condo out in Connecticut, but that was no longer the case. More would be lost this year than any other. On February 26, 2017, Phil participated with his viewers in a game of Quiplash 2. A game with pre-established questions that could be answered in any way. The goal is to win the favor of the competitors with the most compelling answer. This quickly delved into the memes both surface level and personal around Phil. For example, his seal laugh or ack.
DSP tries a KFC.
In the near future, scientists will discover that dinosaurs actually DSP tries a KFC grilled chicken or make more ad revenue than Phil. Damn. No matter what, it's gonna be all throwing shade at DSP.
Grilled chicken or make more ad revenue than Phil. Calvark or they're both good.
None of these had any major effect as Phil played along with the roasts. It wasn't until a player shoehorned in an answer that caused chaos.
Let me see these. I can probably take a guess on which one here. Come up with a classic novel with this word to tide lick. Leanna's fake engagement ring. Ooh. I think that might be the one there. Lick Phil's diaper. Lick the dick. Lick my ass for $1 a month. Lick my shit homos. Lick her gently. Might be that one too. Take your top off and lick my Lickin' Fap a pre-stream story. Yeah, I'm guessing it's either one of these two, but it's definitely this one. It's definitely, I would take a guess, it's probably definitely this one.
I don't even know what that means. Leanna's fake engagement ring. Huh? What does that mean? I never gave her an engagement ring.
Yep, I was right.
I was right. Is there something in the detractor circles about a fake engagement ring? What are you talking about?
I called it.
Give her an engagement ring? What? People are weird. What does that even mean? There's some stupid inside joke that I don't understand. What does that mean?
Ooh.
It won, and it makes no sense whatsoever to anyone who's not into the inclusive circle jerking circle. That made no sense at all. What does that mean?
Damn.
Is there actually like some kind of a joke about an engagement ring? Huh?
Yeah, I figured that was the one.
Leanna posted it on her own Twitter. What are you talking about? It's about one of her Twitter pictures. What are you talking about?
Are we about to get into
That's
how they
hilarious
are
because
no
that
longer
just shows
together?
how mind-fucked and stupid the people are who do this shit. These detractor idiots. Because no human would know what the fuck they're talking about.
I'm gonna take a guess this is where the point where him and Leanna's relationship really went south, didn't it?
It's some completely inside joke they made up for themselves that no one would know anything about at all. It doesn't make any sense. It makes zero fucking sense. And yet it ends up being the big winner at the end of the game. That's so fucking stupid.
As was revealed to Phil through a video game, Panda Lee had been wearing a fake engagement ring to her job. Dissatisfied in the relationship and the lack of progress towards marriage, this was her way of lashing out and participating in the drama on Twitter. Quote, "Oh shit, he knows about the fake engagement ring I wear to work that I wear all the time? How could he have known?" Unquote. Panda Lee then posted the ring itself, captioned with Ringgate 2017. Panda Lee allegedly also took off work to experience the live drama that was unfolding. With her displeasure with Phil near its climax, it was a surprise they did not separate there. In the limelight instead was Machinima. With the apocalypse in full swing, earnings down and the company model a complete failure, they had less support to answer creators who were feeling the brunt of the loss of ad revenue. Phil, being one of these creators, reached out, but Machinima was slow to answer, and so he was emailing not just former employees that had been fired without his knowledge, but emergency contacts meant for dire situations. That's when on February 28th, a Machinima employee reached out to Phil and gave him the basic advice to increase his audience retention and kindly to not message other departments. Phil's full, alleged response was locked in on Machinima's request to not message other departments. Phil used his history with the company as a reason to act in the way he pleases and demands better treatment. If he is not treated better, he states he is better off not working with them. Machinima, more than happy to oblige, released Phil from the contract. After all, per their contract, they were only losing money with Phil because he was earning 100% of the ad revenue. Phil was relating this moment to when he got fired from his office job in 2010. As seen per Fred Fox capturing of Phil's Twitch chats, Phil was acting as if he was blindsided by his own requests, stating, quote, "There is no 2 or 1 month notice. That is complete BS, lol, but this situation is pretty unique," unquote. In a video released shortly after, Phil dissects his separation of Machinima, then dissects it.
I mean, to be fair, at that point in time, I do believe Machinima was going at a downward spiral too, so not surprising.
Again and again and again, then loses his train of thought, thanks his followers, asks for donations, and again restates what has been overtly established, yet never provides a satisfactory answer. That's why his video is nearly 2 hours long to explain that the contract with Machinima has been terminated. And as per the description, quote, "I cannot give all the details, but in this video I explain what's going on," unquote. This is all beyond minutia. That besides Phil's uncreditableness or dishonest nature is why few would ever care for his side of the events. His long-windedness buries his own reasoning or retelling of events even further than his several uploads a day do. For any controversial moment, Phil is certain to extend what should be a clear and concise response into a multi-page long essay or hour-long video. It took about 10 days or so for Phil's channel to be fully released. And then, it took about an additional week for him to fight various content ID claims himself, as would normally be the responsibility of Machinima. Phil was quick to find a different multi-channel network to partner with. This time it was Curse. Unlike Machinima, who was trying to inflate the numbers, Curse did not give Phil a 100% cut of ad revenue, nor was he in a managed partnership. This means that they would not be responsible for his 30 or so content ID claims that he was getting a day on his 40,000 uploaded videos. The ongoing developments of 2017 were scarcely predictable. In April, Phil submitted to Panda Lee's request and per her Instagram post were now engaged. The detractors' persistent monitoring allowed them to find the ring almost immediately.
We all know what happens because they never, ended up together. Because I know he ended up with a different wife later on. I imagine we'll get to that in a little bit. Well, later on in probably the second half. We're like we're through the first half already, so.
It was one that Panda Lee personally liked on her Blackcurrant account, which is the name of her soap-making business. Detractors, tracing this back to Amazon, found that Phil had spent on the lower end for this ring. A testament to his detractors' obsession and/or Phil's dwindling finances. By May, Phil had concluded a 2-month-long talk with a different network that introduced themselves as Poltavi. They offered Phil a cut similar to Curse and a managed partnership. And while he found Poltavi unprofessional in their exchanges, he found their offer to be too enticing to give up, and severed his partnership with Curse, though Phil had made a grave mistake. Poltavi's unprofessional nature was foreboding, and they quickly turned around and disregarded the partnered element. With all this happening in the background, the sons of Kojima found out through Phil's channel's source page that he had a new partnership. Not with Curse or even Poltavi as Phil understood it. He was partnered with an entirely new network known as Leveria Media, and as revealed, was using Poltavi as a front to disguise their own network and shady practices. The CEO was found to be just a student at a university. Phil, understanding his mistake, sought to leave his new network. The sons of Kojima allegedly even got the CEO of Leveria Media on for one of their podcasts. This was a confusing set of events for everyone involved. While all this was going on, Phil was in the process of purchasing a new car. For the past 6 years, he had been leasing a BMW. In the last 3 years, he had only driven the BMW 6,000 miles, and so never changed the oil.
Yeah, BMW...
Doc, no. You gotta change the oil every 6,000 miles. Everyone will tell you this. For fuck's sake, Phil.
You're supposed to get maintenance for free, no matter what. That's part of the deal. That's why the car is so expensive. And they never, they never contacted us to get it changed.
Is that the PlayStation music playing in the
Phil's
background?
audience long understood he was financially illiterate, but he hadn't been yet exposed to how illiterate he was with cars or the contracts related to them. That's why whenever other content creators discover both, it makes for an interesting watch.
In 3 years, we only drove the car 6,000 miles. So, if that gives you any idea...
He what? He leased a car for $400 or $500 a month, and he's only drove it 6,000 miles in 3 years?
Yeah, mind-boggling, ain't it?
Why?
Cherry Dude's like, oh, you could have engine damage. No, Cherry Dude, that's not how it works. BMW has a diagnosis computer inside of the car that tells you when things go wrong. So if there were engine damage...
Not always. It doesn't show you every problem, Phil. Oh my god.
Oh my god! Hey, this guy is a living meme! No,
He really
there
is?
is. It's not.
Yeah.
BMW has diagnosis computer in the car. Okay.
And they never, they never contacted us to get it changed.
Why would they contact
They
you
don't.
to change your oil?
They only contact you for recalls. That's what the only thing they'll contact you for. They don't contact you for anything else.
Destiny, the person reacting to Phil's explanation, calls Phil the salesman stream. Wanting to help Phil out, Destiny jumped onto Phil's stream and began typing in his chat, attempting to provide financial
Destiny's
advice.
a bit crazy
Phil,
too
of course,
himself.
ignored this, and on his forums he posted, quote, Destiny, a Twitch streamer who I never even heard of before 2 weeks ago, came into my chat and practically begged me to stop what I'm doing and talk with him. What the fuck can this guy tell me about buying cars that I don't already know? This guy probably didn't know I went to school for finance. Unquote.
Again, you keep bringing it up, but you make the most horrible financial choices. And again, we haven't even gotten to WWE Champions yet. I cannot wait to see this part of the story.
Phil, still in the mindset of discussing the drama around the networks, was talking about it on stream.
I trusted YouTube's system to work properly, okay? Here's what happened. So, that was Monday, I think Monday morning or whatever, okay? I think, uh-oh. Hold on 1 second, everybody. I'll be right back. I'm getting an important phone call.
Which would be?
Folks, I've got a family emergency. It came out of nowhere, and I have to deal with it now. So guess what? Sadly, the podcast has to end. I can't finish my story right now.
Phil had received a call from Panda Lee's job. She had experienced an anxiety attack and was being driven to the hospital by paramedics. Phil then met her at the hospital after picking up her car. He found her in a sedated state, and after a 3-hour-long wait, they released her with no additional treatment. Frustrated at the lack of attentiveness, Phil said,
So now she's zonked out. She's sleeping, you know, in the room because of, you know, everything. She's still on the pills that made her all loopy or whatever. So, I mean, we did, on the way home, I stopped and we got food. I grabbed, like, chicken sandwiches and we just ate them and now she's sleeping. So that's what happened. Unbelievable. Like, oh, my God. The thing is, I know if this ever happens again, I'm going to tell them, you are not allowed to bring her to the hospital. No, you get no permission to fucking do it. You can't give her a pill. You want to give her a pill, give her a pill. And that's it, because you're just going to waste our time again. You didn't help us at all.
To some, this looked
fucked.
like Phil was dismissing Pandalee's issues or minimizing them, which is what he was now getting backlash for.
Very fucked.
What they didn't know is that Phil and Pandalee had broken up some time before the anxiety attack, which is also a possible factor that may have induced it. He announced this at the end of May. Now, for the first time ever, Phil was in Washington in complete isolation. Mockingly, a few dating adverts were made to remedy his newfound loneliness. Then there was a song request.
89.7 KACC, we got a dedication in. These kids and their names, I swear. So, DarkSydePhil wants to dedicate a song to Pandalee. He wants to dedicate Baby Come Back by Player. I don't know what to say, guys. Okay, so, anyway, here's Baby Come Back by Player, and they actually wanted me to say Baby Come Back, I don't get it. I really don't get it with these kids.
Shocking that the radio guy doesn't know DSP is not a kid. This is a grown-ass man in his late 30s doing this shit. Oh, man.
DarkSydePhil, here's your dedication to Pandalee.
In many ways, Phil was defeated, but he would not be Phil if he wasn't persistent in getting others to dislike him. On his Twitch chat, a place only...
Yeah, for this one, actually, I'll stop it right here for right now. The breakups part is actually a good place, and I've been watching him for about over an hour now, so this would be a good spot to land it on. We're like halfway through now, watching the documentary of the internal downfall of DSP. So yeah, that's the end of part 2 here for me, excuse me, and tune in for next time when I'll be doing part 3 and get into the continued downfall of DSP after his breakup with Pandalee. Alright, but in any case, thank you for watching, and tune in for part 3 next time.